You are tuned in to The Low Band Show, broadcasting from the storm drains under the big city, where a tunnel crew runs this booth on salvaged gear, pipes humming, steady water dripping, piping surface science and tech news on a low band signal through the drains. I'm your host, Max Hertz. Welcome in. Here's what we do. We take real science and tech news from the surface, summarize it, then go deeper to educate, entertain, and shed light on what's in store for our collective future. News from the net, clear signal, and a little tunnel. If you came for hype, you took a wrong turn at the storm drain.
Welcome in. Max Hertz here, and it is good to have you with us. Wiz, good to have you in the booth today.
Glad to be here, Max. Ready to unpack the queue.
Today, we are tracking some major platform shifts, corporate ambitions, and a few key endings. We'll start with a look back at 40 years of computing through the lens of a long-running tech blog. Then we'll examine Bob Iger's former acquisition wish list at Disney, alongside Walmart's major new buy in the advertising tech space. Plus, Google's changing Play Store fee structures following the Epic Games court battle, and a quiet end for Notion Mail. Let's get into it. This retrospective on 40 years of computing made me sit up. On June 17, 2026, blogger Mark Round published a deep look back at his 4 decades with technology. It's a striking reminder of how our digital landscape has changed. Wiz, it's a trip. Round writes, "So I went digging through archive.org, old backups, and a box of zip disks, and wrote up a long look back at 4 decades of computing through the one website that's been my online home along the way." Wiz, for younger listeners, what was a zip disk?
A zip disk was a high-capacity floppy drive from the 90s that was notorious for clicking itself to death. But archiving 25 years of your own blog is a serious achievement in a world where digital history usually just vanishes.
Round continues. "It runs from my first 8-bit micro and a 1200 baud modem through discovering the actual internet at university, past gloriously pimped out Enlightenment Linux desktops, all the way to the modern cloud-native world." Wiz, a 1200 baud modem sounds like digital molasses today.
It was. Downloading a single low-res image back then was a test of spiritual endurance. But that shift from isolated local micros to the early open web was magic, before everything got consolidated into 3 giant platforms.
He notes there are plenty of, quote, dodgy screenshots, terrible code, and fond memories of long-gone haunts. It makes you wonder how much of today's stack will survive 40 years.
Most of today's cloud setups won't last 10 years, let alone 40. The old stuff survived because you actually owned the hardware and the files. Now, we just lease space in someone else's server farm.
Whether the future of computing remains open or fully centralized is still the big open question. We'll be right back after this. The headline promises a lot. Let's see what the paper actually says about the giants that almost were. On June 24th, 2026, the Financial Times published an exit interview with former Disney head Bob Iger, revealing they actively pursued Apple, Twitter, and the James Bond franchise. Wiz, it sounds like a corporate fever dream.
It really does. Disney going full Pac-Man with the media landscape is wild. Buying Twitter is one thing, but merging with Apple would have rewritten the entire tech and entertainment playbook.
The Verge reports on Iger's actual words regarding Twitter. "Disney came close to buying Twitter from co-founder Jack Dorsey at a very attractive price, but walked away on the morning of the deal over concerns that it would be a horrible distraction."
Whew, dodged a massive bullet there. Twitter as Disney's distribution arm sounds like a content moderation nightmare wrapped in a public relations disaster. Sometimes the best deals are the ones you walk away from.
Regarding Apple, The Verge notes that conversations about a potential merger never went anywhere, and that Apple didn't show that much interest. However, Iger's first call with Steve Jobs resulted in an almost immediate deal to put Disney content on the first video iPod.
That iPod deal was pure pragmatism meeting opportunity. But a full merger would have clashed with Apple's culture of strict vertical control. A legacy media conglomerate's committee-driven bureaucracy is a tough fit, and Steve Jobs probably saw that limit quickly.
On acquiring other franchises, Iger says Marvel was one, Star Wars was another, James Bond was one. We had a list, and I figured, let's just tick them off and buy them all. Wiz, for listeners who might not know, what is MGM, and how do they fit into this?
MGM is Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer, the historic Hollywood studio that co-owned the Bond rights. Amazon bought MGM in 2022 and eventually paid over $1 billion for full creative control of Bond by early 2025, keeping 007 out of Disney's hands.
It's fascinating to see how close we came to a completely different media monopoly. Whether Disney's current intellectual property chest remains enough to sustain them is still an open question. We'll be right back. The real fight here is about who gets to control your TV screen and the retail data behind it. AdExchanger reported on June 23, 2026, that Walmart is acquiring connected TV ad platform Vibe.co for a reported $1.4 billion. Wiz, they are serious about this.
$1.4 billion is serious money. Walmart already has Vizio smart TVs, but this acquisition isn't about selling hardware. It's about owning the self-serve software that actually puts the commercials on those screens.
Exactly. AdExchanger reports Vibe joins Walmart Connect's commerce ecosystem alongside the smart TV maker Vizio. Wiz, for listeners who may not know, what is CTV?
Connected TV is just any television streaming content over the internet instead of traditional cable. It's the physical screen in your living room, but powered by the web. Walmart wants to be the one selling the ads that play on it.
Here is how they plan to pull it off. And Vibe's tech is poised to help unify Walmart's growing CTV footprint with the closed-loop attribution provided by its retail sales data. Wiz, how does that attribution piece actually work?
Closed-loop attribution means tying a streaming ad directly to a cash register. Since Walmart knows exactly what you buy in their stores and online, they can prove to an advertiser whether a TV commercial actually made you purchase their product. That is incredibly hard for traditional TV to match.
The article also highlights who they are targeting. Walmart is especially interested in attracting more small and medium-sized businesses who lack the tools, budgets, or teams to invest in streaming TV.
Small businesses usually get locked out of television ads because of cost and complexity. If Walmart makes buying a TV ad as easy as boosting a social media post, they tap into a massive pool of advertiser dollars. It's a direct shot at Amazon's territory.
It's a high-stakes play for performance advertising, but whether small brands will actually flock to a retail giant's TV platform remains an open question. We'll be right back.
Google is officially beginning to dismantle parts of its Android wall. Google announced on June 24, 2026, that it is starting to implement App Store changes, as agreed in its settlement with Epic Games. Wiz, this is a massive shift. The announcement states, starting on June 30, developers in Europe, the UK, and the US will have access to the new fee structure.
It's about time. For years, Google treated the Play Store like a feudal estate, taking a massive cut of every transaction. This settlement finally forces them to split that commission into separate billing and service fees.
Right. The text explains the biggest win for small developers is the new flat 10% service fee for the first $1 million in earnings every year. Wiz, for listeners who don't know the backstory, what was the crux of the Epic Games dispute with Google's Play Store?
Epic sued Google, arguing that forcing developers to use Google's billing system and charging up to 30% commissions was an illegal monopoly. Epic wanted the freedom to use their own payment processors and alternate app stores without paying Google's steep tax.
And Google is yielding on that exact point. The document notes, developers will finally be allowed to send users outside the Play Store to complete a transaction, too. Google says they can design a choice screen in accordance with our UX guidelines.
in accordance with our UX guidelines. Translating from corporate speak, expect a terrifying warning screen asking if you're absolutely sure you want to leave Google's safe embrace. It's compliance, but engineered with maximum friction to keep you inside.
There is also a financial catch for going external. The document says, devs pay the standard service fee on these purchases, but they'll avoid the billing fee. All transactions that run through Google's Play Store platform add a 5% billing fee.
So even if you go outside, Google still collects its core service fee. They are letting developers walk out the door, but they're still charging rent on the sidewalk. It is a lower rate, but Google's toll booth remains firmly in place.
While these changes start this month, how many developers will actually navigate these rules to bypass Google's billing remains unclear. It is still early days for this new model, and whether it truly shifts the balance of power is an open question. We'll be right back. Notion announced on June 25th, 2026. Here's the headline. Notion Mail is shutting down. Wiz, this is about a massive bet on AI. The company says more than half of users already manage email through Notion's AI agents without opening their inbox.
AI managing your inbox sounds great until the agent accidentally unsubscribes you from payroll. It's a bold pivot, but forcing everyone onto AI workflows when they just wanted a clean inbox is a classic tech move.
Engadget reports that the email client will shut down on September 22nd, and they have published an FAQ for users. The report notes, most emails will still exist in a Gmail inbox, but customers will need to manually export their drafts, scheduled emails, snippets, and auto-label instructions. Wiz, for listeners who might not know, what was Skiff?
Skiff was a startup that Notion acquired back in 2024. They integrated that acquisition to launch this mail client, and now, just 2 years later, the whole project is getting the axe.
Whether users will actually embrace Notion's AI-driven workflows or simply migrate to traditional email clients remains an open question. We'll be right back. That is our board for today. We started by looking back at 40 years of computing history and wondering what part of our current stack will actually survive the next 4 decades, especially as the tension between open systems and centralized control continues to play out. We also saw how close we came to a different kind of centralization with Disney's near-miss acquisitions of Apple and Twitter, a reminder of how fragile our media landscape really is. Meanwhile, Walmart is making its own high-stakes play in advertising by picking up Vive, aiming to pull smaller brands into streaming TV. Then we tracked the early days of Google's new Play Store fee structure, which leaves it highly uncertain how many developers will actually navigate the billing rules to bypass them. And finally, Notion Mail is shutting down, leaving users to decide whether to embrace new AI workflows or head back to traditional platforms. We have more build and science threads already queuing up for the next session. We will keep tracking these spaces, watching where the actual evidence lands, and checking if these new platforms can deliver on their promises. The key is growth, and we will pick up the thread as soon as the next signal drops. Keep your skepticism calibrated and stay sharp.
It's certainly a lot to consider. If we missed an angle or you have further questions on these topics, please drop us a comment. We read them down here in the tunnel. And if this signal helped you stay informed, like or subscribe keeps the pipes humming. More surface news and deeper dives are coming through the grate soon. Until then, stay curious, and we'll catch you next time on The Low Band Show.